Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about calendar in Smart IT and its configuration. Calendar in Smart IT gives you an overview of business events, outages, and change and release tickets. Calendar is similar to a calendar. That option is available in Outlook. It is used to display the day in day out activities or the scheduled activities in Helix ITSM. In order to view the change and release ticket details over calendar, the user need to have the permissions of change agent or release agent. But business events and outages are visible to everyone, irrespective if the users has roles of respective application. The calendar in Smart IT is by default enabled. So when a user logs in into the Smart IT, the calendar option is available in the menu bar. However, this parameter calendar feature enabled when set to true or false, the calendar option in Smart IT is enabled or disabled. Along with calendar feature enabled, the other configuration parameter available in Smart IT settings are calendar default view. Its value is set to time grid day or day grid month. Based on the set selected value, the calendar displays in month or shows in a day format. Other parameter, calendar item display limit. This parameter controls the number of items to display in a calendar. By default, this is set to 2000. The other parameter in the Smart IT configurations is calendar chunk size. The default value for calendar chunk size is set to 80. This parameter works at server level, and in a chunk it fetches around 80 records to display on the calendar. This is how a calendar looks in Smart IT. Now let's move on to a demo. Currently, I'm at the Smart IT login screen and I'm going to log in with the user who has an IT agent permissions and roles. As soon as I log in into the Smart IT, I land up on the calendar. I can land up on the dashboard or some other console. However, I landed up on the calendar. The reason for that is there is a configuration setting which can be defined in Smart IT component. This is under the component com bmc arc smart IT, and here if we do a search for parameter called landing page, that is defined to calendar. So when you define this to calendar, as soon as the user logs in into the Smart IT, the first opening page or component would be a calendar. The same can be configured to dashboard. In order to do so, you can just change this parameter to dashboard and apply the changes. Once you do these changes, next time the user logs in, it would be landing up on the dashboard and not on the calendar. I'm logging into Smart IT with a IT agent role. I'll redirect it to a calendar component. When the calendar is open, by default, you see the calendar has filter section. You see green pills indicating the filters that are applied, a refresh button, a calendar icon, and then couple of more clickable buttons. What you see below is a canvas on the calendar. This canvas is showing today's date and the time from 12 a.m. till end of the day, that is 12 p.m. So any record or any business event, change, release, outages that are scheduled on this particular day would be visible in this timeline. The view that we are observing right now, if we see, it is configured to day. However, this configuration can be tweaked or changed to month view. So when I see it as month, you will notice that the November month is reflected and each day is shown in a cube indicating the events for those particular day. Similarly, this other option we have as a week, wherein you can see for a particular week what all events or records are configured in the calendar. And the last one is the list. List is nothing but it's another view wherein if We exceed the parameter display chunk size if we exceed the calendar item display limit, which is set to 2000. In that case, by default, the calendar would change to list format, because to display 2000 records or 2000 and above records, the month view would not be a suitable view to display it. And that is where, whenever the record count or the events that are configured in the calendar exceeds 2000 limit, in that case, this calendar component directly switches to list view by default. However, users can either use day, month, but an administrator can configure it either for a day format or for a month format. To do so, in the configuration settings, we have a parameter called as calendar default view. This calendar default view has two configurations. The first configuration is time grid day, which indicates in a day we are showing the timeline, which is the current one. If you switch to the day format, you'll notice we have time in the y-axis and day on the x-axis. But when you switch to the month, that can be done by changing this parameter to day grid month. You can switch back to dashboard and you can see that it is configured to a month view. Just to ensure that this setting is actually reflecting, I will go ahead and set it to day. I will go log out, log in again with the user, and you will end up on the day grid month format. The next setting that is available is the calendar chunk size. This calendar chunk size is by default set to 80. This configuration tells the server to fetch 80 records and give it to the UI where it can be displayed. So this is a server side fetching, and the other one is calendar item display limit. This is a smart IT side display, which indicates in a calendar how many records that I want to display. By default, it is set to 2000. As a change user or as a release user, I can view any of the record. To view the record, I can click on the event and you can get the details about it. If we scroll down, we have the color code, which indicates blue indicates change request, yellow indicates releases, orange indicates outages and business event. With this color code, you can identify that a green indicates an business event, orange indicates an outage. So if we see here, if we click, we can see the details of the change outage. The blue indicates a change request, which means there is a change that is scheduled, and we can see the details of the change. We also see business time segment, which is shown in green. You can clear all the filters from here and you can select the required filters. So I would want to show change along with business events. So if I click on apply, I would be able to see these things. Now I'm in Smart IT. If I switch to calendar, I can see the business events, outages, and release and change related data. However, if you notice, I have certain business events configured, but those are not visible here. Business events indicates in green. There are a couple of business events that are being configured into the system, but these business events are not visible. Why these business events are not visible? The reason for that is Smart IT has a parameter called ar.date.format. This date format, by default, if it is set to DDMMYYY format, In that case, the business events are not visible on the calendar. When it is configured as MMDDYYYY, in that case, the business events would be visible. I change the setting of ar.date.format to MMDDYYY with hours, minutes, and seconds. Now I switch back to Smart IT and I do a refresh to the calendar. As soon as I do refresh to calendar, I'm able to see the business events that are configured. I'm currently logged in Smart IT with an IT agent role and landed up on the dashboard. If you notice, I don't see the option of calendar in the menu bar. The reason is this feature is not enabled and it can be enabled. This enabling or disabling the calendar option in the menu bar of Smart IT is controlled by a parameter under the component of Smart IT global setting. It is calendar feature enabled. When it is set to false, the option is not visible in the menu bar. When I change this parameter from false to true and apply the changes, go back to the Smart IT and reload the URL, you notice that I'm able to see the calendar menu option here and I can switch into the calendar view. Thus, the calendar feature enable property controls whether the option is to be made available or disabled in Smart IT. Thank you for watching this video. For more such videos, please subscribe to our Helix ITSM and Discovery channel. Thank you.